his life. He's done all kinds of, he's a wonderful family man. He has worked with all kinds of people from all over the world. He's making a huge difference out there. And we're going to talk a little bit about business and about relationships and how that has really affected the things that he works with, as well in the charity side as well as regular business. So Ken, take it away.
Thanks, Tom. Again, I'm grateful to be here with you guys and to just share some life experience with you, tell some stories here, and hopefully share some information that can be beneficial to you. Um, I got my degree years ago from Brigham Young University in advertising. It took me a while to decide what I wanted to do, and so I graduated in advertising. My first job, what I'd like to do is just kind of tell you my career arc here, where I started and how I ended up where I am, and why I think that business is really relationships. That is the core of business. Absolutely, you need to have knowledge about the trade that you're involved in, the work that you're doing day to day. Gaining that kind of knowledge and wisdom. But I don't think it would be possible to complete it without the relationships part of that, relationships with people around you. So I got my degree in advertising. My wife and I had just had our first baby, and I applied for a job with an ad agency in Las Vegas. So we were living in Utah at the time, and so I moved to Las Vegas for my first post-college job, and ended up doing public relations. And I did that for a few years. This ad agency had a reputation of taking young college graduates and just working them to death, knowing that they would leave for another opportunity when they got one, but that they would get some good experience there. So that was kind of their reputation. But I took that job. I just had a baby. I needed a job, and so we moved to Las Vegas, and I worked there again for a few years. Learned a lot, but certainly was open to new opportunities. I was visiting one time with a neighbor, and he worked at a local business bank, and he said, "Hey, you know what? We need somebody to come and handle the marketing for our bank." And I told him, I said, "I don't have any experience in banking." And he's like, "Oh, that's okay. It's just advertising money. And you have advertising experience." Well, it's a little more complicated than that, but I did end up interviewing and taking a job at this bank. It was better hours. I wasn't getting worked to death like I was at the ad agency. It was better hours and allowed me to be home more, and it paid better. So I thought, well, this is what I'm going to do from now on. And so I was there for about 4 years. And then a good friend of mine was working at a public relations firm and said, "Hey, we need you to come, jump aboard here and help us out." And it offered more money, so it was a good opportunity. So I went and worked there. Well, that public relations firm struggled. It limped along for a little while, and then they ended up closing their doors, and so it was time to look for another job. Well, I was at a Christmas party, and a friend of a friend, it was someone that I did know, but not really well. And he said, "Oh, I hear you're looking for work. I would love to hire you." And I said, I don't even know what you do." And he said, "Well, I work with a window subcontractor. We sell windows to residential homes." And I said, "I don't know anything about construction." He said, "Yeah, but you could do it." And I needed the work, so I got hired to sell windows for homes. And it was the most money I had made up to that point in my career. It was a very successful company. There was a lot of new construction going on at the time. And so I thought, great. So I jumped in and did that for a couple of years. Then the industry started to change a little bit. My son was playing Little League baseball, on a baseball team. And I was at a game and struck up a conversation with a friend whose son was also on the team, and he was in commercial insurance, liability, workers' comp, and I said, "Tell me about that industry." So he started talking to me about it, and he said, "You should come work there." I said, "Well, I don't have an insurance license. I don't know anything really about it." And he's like, "Well, you should come talk to the owner, because I think you would do well there." So sure enough, I went and talked to the owner. They worked up a package for me, a deal, and offered to have me come work there. So then I jumped from selling windows into insurance. I did that for a number of years. And then my wife and I came up to Utah for a family reunion. We were staying with her aunt, and her aunt said, "Hey, my neighbor, you should talk to my neighbor. She's had some health issues. She had cancer, and she owned a company that sold a product for treating concrete. And she, her health has given her some struggles. She's looking for someone to help her run the company." And I said, "I don't know anything about running a company, and I don't even live in Utah." And they're like, "Yeah, but you should talk to her." So I made some time while we were up here visiting in Utah. I talked to this owner, and they said, "Yeah, I'm looking for someone to possibly take the reins of the company, since I have cancer." So we started talking, and over the next year, she actually overcame cancer. She beat cancer and was healthy. But she said, "I would like to hire you to come as a salesman." And at that point, I had learned a little bit about the company. And so I said, "Well, can I do it remotely? Can I do it from Las Vegas?" And they said, "Yeah." Her and the other owner said, "Yeah, for a while. And then we'd like you to move up here." So we stayed in Las Vegas for a little while. I would commute up to Utah from time to time and work from here. And then eventually we moved up to Utah. The company decided to downsize. So I continued to work there, but started looking for something else. And I found an ad agency up here. Now, I hadn't been in advertising since my first job, decades before, when I first moved to Las Vegas. So I went in to interview, and it was a referral from a friend who said, "Hey, I know the president of this ad agency. You should go interview there." And I said, "Okay, I haven't done advertising for a long time." And he said, "Well, it's a good company. You'll like them." So I sent my resume in, and then the president of the company called me and said, "Hey, I got your resume from our mutual friend, and it looks great. I would love to have you come in and interview. What do you know about digital marketing?" Now, digital marketing was new to me, because when I was doing advertising, it was TV, print, billboard, and radio. The internet wasn't a strong force in advertising. Well, now it was. So he said, "What do you know about digital marketing?" And I was honest. I said, "Nothing. I don't even know what that all means when you say it." He goes, "That's great. That's great. I'd love to have you come in and interview." I said, "Okay." So I went in, and he was interviewing me with two other people. And I was honest again. I said, "I don't know a lot, but I'm willing to learn." And one of the guys that was there said, "I went on Facebook and looked you up, and you know my cousin Dave." I said, "Oh yeah, Dave and I knew each other in college. We were in a comedy performing group." And then the president said, "Oh, I went to that college and I knew that performing group. Did you know Darren?" I said, "Yeah, Darren's a good friend of mine." He said, "Me too. I grew up with Darren." And so they said, "We'd like to continue to talk with you." So I left thinking, this is really interesting. I don't know a lot about what they do, but they're interested because of the connections that we have. Well, they had me come back, and the CEO of the company was from Las Vegas, where I had just moved from. And I knew his sister. I knew we had all these mutual friends. And this guy said to me, "I don't know what kind of dirt you have on all these people, but we can't find anyone that will say anything bad about you. In fact, all of them have said, whatever he doesn't know, he will learn, but you would be a fool not to hire him." So I got that job. And there was a learning curve for me. There were some things I had to learn. And I worked there for a number of years until, like Tom and I talked about before, we were serving together in some church callings, and we have a mutual friend, Carl, who said, "You should come look at working at the philanthropies department for the church." And I said, "I don't know anything about philanthropies. I didn't even know there was a department that did that." But he shared some information with me. I did some research on it, and I thought, I would really enjoy this. This would be more rewarding and more fulfilling to me than working in advertising and marketing. And so I applied and got the job there. Now, if you look at any kind of theme or a string that would tie all of my different jobs together, it would be that they're all people focused, and that that they came about through relationships. I tried to never burn a bridge, but also you never know the relationships that you have with neighbors, friends, through your business and through work, what those might lead to in the future. And for me, it's been a testament that the people that you surround yourself with, these relationships that you forge and that you build and that you make important to you, will open up doors of opportunity that you never even fathomed. So, did I need to know how to do that work I was hired to do? Absolutely. I don't want to make it sound like it's just schmoozing or just artificial or superficial relationships. These were relationships that absolutely meant something to me. I never made a friendship or a relationship thinking, I'm going to leverage this later for my benefit. They were genuine friendships, but in building them, there was a confidence between us that allowed a little bit of room for me to then learn what it was I needed to do. And I would take things I learned from one job, apply them in another, and be successful that way. But I just want to encourage you, when you are whatever facet of your life you're dealing in, there are people around you who can open doors of opportunity. And when they have confidence in you and you have confidence in them, it will allow you to explore new opportunities, new possibilities. So that's been a hard-won education for me, and something I would want to share with anyone who would be willing to listen, anyone looking to succeed, is to learn from each experience, learn from each job, but always be building those relationships and looking for what opportunities can come through them. Even being here today is because I have a relationship with Tom.
There's a saying that says it's not what you know, it's who you know. Well, the real answer, it's not who you know, but who knows you. Yeah. And what do they know you for?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what do they know you for?
Yeah. You are building your own brand as you go through life. And
you are. And here's something I learned in high school. People are going to talk about you. Give them something good to talk about. That's crucial. There's all kinds of gossip and whatever. People are going to talk about you. Give them something good to talk about. And relationships is what gets you through the door. People do business with people that they know. They do business with people they know that might know someone else that is doing good, because that's the people they want to hang around with. And the most successful companies and the most successful business guys are the ones that solve the biggest problems. And they're generally want to help people. And his story is very simple. You notice he didn't know anything about those businesses, but he had a reputation. For learning things and making a difference and being honest in his dealings and working really hard. And that's why he was able to continue to move up until he's got what I think is probably pretty much a dream job for him.
Yeah, this is my last one. I know it sounds like I've job hopped a lot. This is it for me. I'm staying put.
and what's so nice is that Ken's introduced me to other kinds of stuff, and so now just on the resources in the system, you'll notice you go down to the courses, then go to the next step. Resources, there's all kinds of wonderful resources that you have to be able to go to those next steps. And that was really created because Ken knew me and invited me to a presentation. And so that's how it goes. So it's really about relationships. Who they're going to talk about you. Give them something that's good to talk about. All right. Thanks, Ken. We'll be right back with another segment. We're going to talk about money, believe it or not. We're going to talk about success, money, family, faith. The whole foundation is getting bigger. We've got all kinds of wonderful things to help you with, to help you have a better life. See you in just a second.